They don't hate you. They don't ignore you. They just tolerate you. And that right there is the clearest sign that no one truly respects you. You've felt it, haven't you? Polite smiles, obligatory nods, people listening without really hearing. You call it respect, but deep down, you know better. If you disappeared tomorrow, nothing would change. No ripple, no pause, no real impact. Why? Because you never drew the line. You never became an anchor. You were flexible, too flexible. And in this world, the flexible aren't admired. They're bent until they break. The truth is harsh. Respect isn't requested, it's imposed. Not with yelling, not with threats, but with presence, with clarity, with a cold, calculated strategy Machiavelli himself would have respected. Respect doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being feared just enough, from being predictable in your standards, unyielding in your limits, relentlessly consistent in your actions. But here's the issue. Most people have limits as blurry as their identity. They say one thing, do another. They bend, then wonder why no one takes them seriously. Let me say it plain. If people don't respect you, it's because they're not afraid to disappoint you. And if they're not afraid to disappoint you, it's because you've never shown them what happens when they do. You forgive again and again and again until your kindness becomes comedy, until your forgiveness loses all weight. Machiavelli warned of this. Those who try to be both loved and feared often end up being neither because they try to please while punishing. And that never works. True respect is built on predictability. Authority starts with a single rule: predictable consequence, not rage, not impulsive reactions, not dramatic outbursts, but a response as consistent as gravity. Cross the line, there's a result. No shouting, no begging, just action. Once, twice. That's all it takes. People learn fast when the rules are ironclad. But you punish with glances. You forgive with long, soft speeches. You talk about limits, but never enforce them. And every time you let something slide, your authority crumbles. Why do some people command a room just by entering it? Because everyone knows. They don't hesitate. Everyone knows. If you cross them, there's no way back. But there's another level. A subtler kind of power. It's not just the fear of punishment. It's the fear of regret. Make people fear disappointing you. Make them feel that if they fail you, you won't yell, shame, or retaliate. You'll just step back, remove yourself, silently, calmly, completely. And that silence, that absence, it will hurt more than any punishment ever could. Let your loss feel like a void. Let them fear erasure, not destruction. Now, this is where leaders separate from tyrants. Offer a window of redemption. One chance, only one. Clear, firm, non-negotiable. People respect those who punish, but they admire those who give one final shot to make things right. Just one. More than that. And it's not grace anymore. It's weakness. Those who fail once and grow deserve to stay. Those who fail twice, 3 times, and make excuses, they're just using you. Give a second chance, but let them feel it's the last one. Don't just say it, prove it. Respect isn't declared, it's demonstrated with actions that leave no doubt. Most people fail for one reason. They punish in anger, reward out of pity, and break their own rules in the name of love, friendship, or fear of being alone. And what do they get in return? They're seen as unstable, weak, replaceable. People don't say it out loud, but they see your indecision as weakness. When your voice trembles, when your standards bend, when you make exceptions out of guilt or fear, You become manipulable. You lose the authority you never really owned. But authority isn't about being rigid or blind. It's not about being cruel. It's about relentless consistency. And in a world where most can't even keep a promise, consistency is power. Look around. Who truly commands respect? It's not the kindest. It's not the most charming. It's the firmest. The one who never wavers. The one who never betrays themselves. Because people don't respect niceness. They respect structure. They feel safe with someone who doesn't change the rules every week. Someone who doesn't forgive today what they condemned yesterday. Someone who doesn't welcome you back with open arms if yesterday they shut the door. These people leave a mark, not because of what they say, but because of what they stand for. True respect is born when others know exactly what to expect from you and choose not to cross that line. Because respect is not an emotion, it's a strategy. You have to choose. Be liked by everyone or respected by the ones who matter. You can't have both. Those who chase approval always end up compromising. And those who compromise stop being taken seriously. The worst mistake: negotiating your values in exchange for acceptance. It's the perfect formula to be secretly despised. They'll smile at you. They'll say they admire you, but they'll walk all over you. Because if you don't demand respect, you become a doormat. It's that simple. There's a big difference between being feared and being respected. Fear might work temporarily, but it's fragile. It fades. Respect, when rooted in consistency, it's indestructible. But it requires something cold, something uncomfortable. You must uphold your limits, even when it hurts, even when you want to forgive, even when you're standing alone, because that's when your power is revealed, when no one's watching. But you still do the right thing, not for applause, not for validation, but for yourself. Because the moment you break your own rules is the moment your authority begins to crumble. Respect begins the day you stop betraying yourself. You want to know the difference between leaders and followers. Leaders earn respect, internally first, and that strength is felt. It's magnetic. It's undeniable, because people don't follow the kindest voice. They follow the one that is coherent, the one who holds steady while everyone else doubts, the one who punishes fairly, rewards logically, and never caves for cheap emotion. That person doesn't need to yell, doesn't need to seek attention, because real respect doesn't need an explanation. It speaks for itself. Now here's the brutal truth. If you're not respected, it's not their fault. It's yours. Because you taught them how to treat you. You were soft when you needed to be strong. You stayed quiet when you should have spoken. You forgave when you should have walked away. And now, you live with those choices. But here's the good news. You can change it. Not tomorrow. Today, with every new decision, with every clear rule, with every boundary you refuse to bend. You don't need to be cruel. Just be clear, consistent, firm, relentless. Respect is not built overnight. It's laid like stone, brick by brick, decision by decision. It's not quick. It's not easy. But once it's there, it lasts. And when you've earned it, you feel it in how they look at you, in how they speak to you, in how careful they are not to cross the line, because they know. You don't hesitate, you don't forget, and you don't give more than someone deserves. In a soft, emotional, and confused world, true authority is gold. And Machiavelli? He wasn't preaching evil. He was teaching power. but not the kind of power that controls others, the kind that masters yourself, the kind that doesn't bow to guilt, that doesn't tremble before fear, that doesn't flinch when someone pushes your boundaries. Power is standing like marble in the middle of chaos. Power is imposing order in a world drowning in gray areas. And that kind of strength, it isn't earned through speeches. It's earned through rules, consequences, and presence. Respect that is built, never begged for. So ask yourself, how predictable are you? Do people know what happens if they fail you, or do they think you'll forgive them? Again, because that is where real respect begins, in being so clear, so consistent, so certain that no one dares to test your boundaries, and still they follow you, not because they fear destruction, but because they know if you're in their life, it's because you choose to be. And that means something, because when you give a chance, it's real. Because when you punish, it's without hate. When you forgive, it's not from weakness. Your authority isn't a mask. It's not a role you play. It's an extension of who you are. And here comes the hardest lesson. Not everyone deserves to be close to you. Respect is also about selection. It's knowing who has earned your time, your energy, your trust, and cutting off those who haven't. Not out of revenge, out of self-respect, because respect starts with you, and if you don't respect yourself, no one else will. So stop explaining. Stop begging to be understood. Stop being available to people who've earned nothing. Apply these 3 laws. Predictable punishment, the fear of regret, a single window of redemption, and hold them, even if it costs you everyone. Because respect isn't about having many around you, it's about having the right ones. And the right ones, they always respect the people who never betray themselves. Welcome to the real game. Here, the loudest voice doesn't win. The steadiest one does. So you decide, will you continue being overlooked? Or will you become the one no one dares to cross? Because respect isn't asked for, it's imposed. And it's imposed in silence. Now we reach the part that most people run from. Most don't lose respect because they're weak. They lose it because they're hungry. Hungry for attention, hungry for approval. Hungry to be accepted, and in that quiet craving, they begin selling off their power, bit by bit. With every "it's okay" they whisper when it wasn't. With every fake smile they give to someone who disrespected them. With every moment they stay silent to keep the peace, even if it means swallowing their dignity. Here's the bitter truth. If you don't value your presence, no one else will. If you act like you're cheap, you'll be treated like you're replaceable. And worst of all, that craving for validation, it's never satisfied, because every time you betray yourself for a sliver of acceptance, you feel emptier. And the emptier you feel, the more you chase that approval. That's the cycle of the weak, the cycle of those who lose. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how noble your intentions may be. If you don't tame this hunger, you will always attract people who do not respect you, because they'll smell the need on you, and respect disappears the moment they realize you need them more than they need you. And now comes another Machiavellian truth. Power doesn't come from how much you rely on others. It comes from how much they rely on you. And that power, it isn't built by pretending to be superior. It's built by becoming undeniably valuable, by knowing how to say no, by walking away when you're not valued, by ignoring messages that only show up when it's convenient for them, by choosing silence over drama. Respect thrives on detachment. It grows in your ability to walk away quietly when things turn disrespectful, because the one who can leave always has the real power. Power belongs to those who can walk away, but the one who stays, begging, becomes just a shadow. And we are not here to be anyone's shadow. Let's go deeper. Why is it so hard to maintain personal authority over time? Because it's exhausting. Because when you set high standards in a world full of excuses, you become the threat. Because living with clarity makes others uncomfortable. Because being coherent doesn't just drain your energy. It costs you connections, comfort, and sometimes companionship. And that's where many crumble. They crave respect, but they're not willing to lose for it. They don't understand. Gaining real authority means sacrificing comfort. The cost of being respected is heavy, but the cost of being ignored is devastating. And so they fall, not with fireworks or drama, but quietly, with small concessions, with silent nods, with phrases like, "Just this once, I'll let it slide." Respect doesn't die with explosions. It dies with sighs, with omissions, with decisions masked as diplomacy that are really just fear, wrapped in courtesy. Now here's another deadly trap: excessive empathy. Poorly managed empathy is a drug. It destroys your center. It makes you understand everyone except yourself. You end up justifying the unjustifiable. He had a rough day. She's going through a lot. It's not really their fault. But ask yourself, how often do you use your own story to justify crossing someone else's boundaries? Almost never, right? Because deep down, you know, what's right doesn't shift with your mood. So why do you let others off the hook? Because you still haven't fully valued yourself. Respect isn't just about how much you understand others. It's about how much you refuse to betray yourself, even when you do understand them. That's the difference between a leader and a martyr. A leader understands, but doesn't fold. A martyr? They burn themselves alive just to keep others warm. And now, a truth no one talks about. Your body speaks before your mouth ever does. This isn't cliché. It's psychology. How you walk into a room, how fast you talk, how calm you stay in silence, how steady your eye contact is, how you breathe. It all broadcasts who you are before you even say a word. Who commands respect without uttering a syllable? The one who doesn't need to prove anything. The one who sits still, unrushed. The one whose gaze doesn't seek approval. The one who doesn't fake a laugh just to blend in. That person is saying, "I'm not here to please you. I'm here because I choose to be." And that kind of presence, that's power. True leaders aren't loud. They're dense. Their energy weighs on the room. Not through intimidation, but through certainty. Because they don't fidget with social anxiety. They don't crave applause. They've made peace with solitude. And that makes them invincible. At any table, in any negotiation, in any war. So ask yourself, how many times have you betrayed yourself just to avoid making others uncomfortable? How many times have you pretended to agree, silenced your opinion, softened your limit, just to avoid friction? And what did you get in return? Nothing. Because people don't respect those who yield. They respect those who stand their ground. But don't confuse this with arrogance. This isn't about shouting. It's not about force. It's about being so deeply anchored in who you are that others get the message without you saying a word. It's about treating your principles like anchors, not accessories. It's about holding your standard, even when the whole world chooses to fall, and when you start living this way, something shifts. Not in them, but in you. Your energy transforms, your relationships get purified, your time becomes sacred, your choices carry weight. You're no longer available for every invitation, every conversation, every person. You become scarce. And what is scarce is respected. Remember this. Respect isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. It's about becoming the kind of person so firm, so predictable, so coherent that the world has no choice but to treat you with the reverence you deserve. Not because of what you say, but because of who you are. And now for the brutal question. Are you willing to lose whatever is necessary to become someone impossible to ignore? Because if you're not, then you're not ready for true respect. You're only ready to keep blending into the noise. And noise, it always fades. Let's keep digging deeper. There's still meat on the bone. Do you know one of the most silent, dangerous ways to lose respect? Over-explaining. That compulsive urge to justify everything you do. That habit of rationalizing your boundaries, your decisions, your no's. As if people are entitled to a running commentary on your life. But why do you do it? Because you're afraid. Afraid of seeming cold. Afraid of being judged. But ironically, all you do is erode your authority. The one who explains too much communicates one thing. Doubt. The one who justifies is begging for acceptance. And here's a hard truth. Real respect is built on what doesn't need to be said. There is raw power in silence. There is strength in a firm, unembellished no, without qualifiers, without empathy, without a backstory. If something doesn't serve you, it ends. Period. You don't owe anyone a thesis paper on your choices. You're not the ambassador of your own boundaries. Think of someone you truly admire. Can you imagine them justifying themselves at every turn? Tiptoeing around people's feelings just to have standards? Of course not. You respect them precisely because their voice doesn't tremble. Because when they say, "This is how it is," you know it's final. No drama, no detour. Let's tackle another modern poison of respect. Digital omnipresence. You're always online, always replying, always active. Why? Because you're afraid someone will be upset if you don't respond. But here's the paradox. You think it makes you kind. It actually makes you predictable. And predictable, when not paired with firmness, becomes dispensable. People don't respect what's always available. They respect what's scarce, what's intentional, what shows up only when it matters. Being constantly accessible turns you into background noise. You fade, you blur, you become an extra in your own movie. Let's talk about something very few understand. Perceived value. It's not about your talent, not about your kindness. It's about how you manage your presence. If you're everywhere, if you chime in on everything, if you say yes to every invite, your value dilutes. Not because you're not valuable, but because you become indistinguishable from everyone else. Do you know who truly leaves an impact? The one who appears with precision. The one who isn't everywhere, but when they speak, the room shifts. The one whose silence feels heavier than someone else's noise because their words are rare, but when they arrive, they're final. Their energy is earned, not given. Here's the next crucial point. Energy is a non-renewable resource, but most people give it away like it's unlimited. They waste it on pointless conversations. They explain themselves to people who will never get it. They show up for people who don't know how to receive. And then they wonder why they feel empty, why their light fades, why they no longer command the room. People respect you less when your light dims. That's why your energy must be selective, strategic, surgical. And yes, that hurts. Because it means you'll disappoint people. You won't reply to every message. You'll leave some people on read. You'll be called distant, cold, arrogant. But it also means you'll stay whole. And that is worth more than every name they throw at you. Now, let's go even deeper. Respect is born from how you treat your time. The person who respects their time teaches the world to respect it too. But if you're always late, always postponing, always seeing if you can, you send one loud message. You don't take yourself seriously. Because if you're not punctual with your own goals, why should anyone else be? Punctuality isn't just about showing up. It's about being where you're meant to be, exactly when it matters. Let's start with the simplest act that quietly destroys your authority, breaking your own word. You said you'd stick to your plan. You said you'd follow your routine. You said you'd hit the gym at 7, but instead you scrolled through TikTok until 8. What message are you sending? You're showing the world, more importantly, yourself, that you're negotiable, even to yourself. And now, let's move into something even more delicate. Respect crumbles when you beg for love. Yes, you read that right. Begging for love is one of the saddest, quietest ways to lose all sense of self-respect. You do it when you tolerate the bare minimum, when you accept half-hearted affection, when you celebrate crumbs like they're a feast. But the real issue isn't that someone doesn't love you properly. The issue is that you let them love you in a way that breaks you. Respect begins in how you allow yourself to be loved, in what you define as acceptable, in how you respond when someone offers you less than you deserve. And no, it's not about being demanding out of pride. It's about recognizing your worth and refusing to settle. Because every time you settle, the world pays attention. And next time, they offer you even less. Here's something the respected always understand. Love without standards isn't love. It's attachment. And attachment isn't respected. It's exploited. Let that sink in. Want another harsh truth? Admiration always comes before respect, and no one admires someone who caves without boundaries. People admire the one who holds back, the one who could act but chooses to pause, the one who could explode but observes instead, the one who could beg but walks away. That kind of restraint. It's magnetic. And this isn't just philosophy, it's biology. The human brain is wired to trust firmness. The limbic system is more responsive to security than it is to someone begging to be liked. We are animals, and animals don't follow those who tremble. They follow those who walk in with presence. And now, the closure, at least for now. Your true respect doesn't live in your words, not in your appearance. Not even in your accomplishments. It lives in how you handle conflict, in how you stand firm when everything shakes, in your ability to say, "This is not enough for me," even when every cell in you wants to stay. When you do this right, you won't need to raise your voice. You won't need to plead. You won't need to fight. People will feel it. In the silence, in the stillness, in your unshakable presence. That is true power, and no one can steal it. Only you can give it away. So, will you keep giving it away? Or will you, once and for all, hold your crown in silence? We're almost at the end, but right now is when you need to listen most closely, because what comes next is not a conclusion. It's a door. Here's what no one told you. Respect is not a one-time achievement. It's not a trophy. It's not a medal. It's a daily war, a quiet one. And your biggest enemy is you. It's your tendency to yield, your desire to please, your fear of losing people, your hunger to be accepted. Respect isn't maintained by luck. It's protected, fought for, reinforced every day, with every word you choose not to say, with every boundary you refuse to bend, with every person you choose to walk away from. And remember this, etch it into your soul. People will always treat you exactly how you teach them to. If you show weakness, they'll use it. If you show need, they'll exploit it. But if you show the world that your presence is a privilege, not an obligation, they will either rise to meet your standard or walk away. And if they walk away, even better, because one of the most radical acts of self-respect is learning to stand alone without feeling empty. Being respected isn't about having crowds clapping for you. It's about having a select few who wouldn't dare cross your boundaries. And now, here comes the final twist. The most powerful path to being respected is not needing to be respected at all. It's choosing to do the right thing even when no one sees it. It's holding your values even when no one acknowledges them. It's walking tall while everyone else crawls. Because at that moment, when you're capable of holding your ground alone, without witnesses, without likes, without applause, that's when the universe starts watching you. Not because you shouted, but because you became unstoppable. So, yes, this journey ends here, but your personal war begins. You know what to do. You know where you've betrayed yourself. You know where you've compromised. And, more importantly, you know now that respect is not requested. It's not begged for. It's not asked with soft words and hopeful smiles. It's built. It's lived. It's imposed. With presence. With unshakable power, with a brutal level of consistency that most cannot handle. And now, if you've made it this far, you didn't just listen, you understood. And that already places you ahead of 90% of the world who still waste their time chasing easy entertainment. So I have a challenge for you. Go down to the comments and write this. I will be respected for what I do not negotiate, not for me, for you. To mark this moment, to commit to this shift, it's a signal that you're no longer playing small, that you're not here to blend in. You're here to build a presence that cannot be ignored. And yes, subscribe, because what's coming isn't light. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's for those who are ready to stop being spectators and start becoming architects of their own respect. And finally, never forget this. You didn't come into this world to beg for attention. You came to build a presence so grounded, so unshakable, that even in your silence, people feel uncomfortable. See you in the next video, or maybe not, because those who truly respect their time choose carefully who gets a piece of it.